Jar of Marble family and Jar of Marble curious. My name is Linda and this is Jar of Marbles. I hope that this podcast finds you well. It's a most exciting time. It's Christmas. Anyway, I know. It's the enthusiasm's a bit of a killer, isn't it? But, I just thought, with Christmas here, it might be worth just having a little look at it, pull it apart a little bit, see what it is, see what it isn't, and see if we quite enjoy that. But anyway, I am so happy that you're here. It's always lovely that you are. And so let's go. My mother, may she rest in peace, was not a drinker, but one Christmas Eve got so drunk that I had to work out whose presents were who. My father, who did shift work, wasn't home on Christmas Eve, and she was invited to our neighbours for a Christmas bevy. I thought it was hilarious an idea, as Mum just didn't drink. She walked down the garden path, and I gotta say, I actually loved that path. Along the entire length of the family home was a grapevine, and it just grew all over the outer walls of the home itself. And what I liked about that grapevine was that they never turned into grapes. They grew as wizened up raisins, like they appeared immediately as a raisin or just wizened up. And they were delicious. They were tarty, chewy, and they had a sweetness that just was left in the mouth after swallowing. So anyway, my mother went next door. I was expecting her home and she never appeared. I'd gone to bed and the next thing I could hear was giggling and falling around in the hallway. Not fooling around, but falling around. It was my mum, pissed as a parrot. She was giving me instructions about something, and her Scottish accent had become broader and full of slang, much more than usual. More than usual, and was confessing to me that she'd had one too many sherries. I've had too many sherries. I've had a few too many here. And could I wrap and put out the Christmas presents? I had no idea where they were, for starters, so I had to get her to remember where she'd put them. I had two brothers who were quite close in age, so making this whole debacle even more complex, and a sister too, that I was going to have to wrap all the presents for, including myself. I had no idea who was to receive what, and either did she. Because by this stage, she was out cold in bed. Merry Christmas to me. Oh, the poor sausage. She bloody needed it. Anyway, this was totally out of character for my mother. This had never happened and never actually did ever happen again. It wasn't unusual to find Dad, however, sleeping on top of the rose bushes in the middle of a cold winter's night. However, somehow balanced precariously on top, this man with his winter coat on, his shoes poking out through the rose petals, sound asleep in the front garden. And I went in to tell Mum, look, Dad's asleep in the rose bushes. I mean, we're sitting somehow balanced on top, right? And she was just so disgusted. She said, just leave them there. I was horrified. Back to the neighbours. The neighbours were lovely people, and I used to babysit for their two daughters on occasion. And one day I was a bit bored, so I decided to dress up like a vagrant. My idea was very Mary Poppinish. So I put on a pair of my father's painting overalls, pair of his old work boots, grabbed a stick, filled a scarf with stones and hung it on the end as if it was sort of enfolding my, only possessions. I mixed up some dirt and rubbed it all over my face to hide my features, my hands, and wrapped a scarf over my hair. I even couldn't recognise me. So off I popped next door to the neighbours, down their driveway and then up the stairs to their front door. Helen and Colin's home. I knocked on the door. Helen opened the door and immediately closed it just to a crack and said, yes. I changed my voice and asked if I could come and live with them. She turned around, still holding the door slightly ajar, calling, Colin, 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 in this ever high-pitched, nervous, shriekish voice. I started laughing and soon Colin was standing at the door entrance asking if he could help me with anything, ever polite, ever, always so polite. By this stage, I was totally sure that neither of them, they truly just didn't recognise me. Their babysitter, no less. And it took quite some time to convince them. And no, I couldn't come living with them. Couldn't live with them. So totally unreasonable, I thought. They, being the fabulous people that they were, admired my outfit once we worked out that it really was me, and had a few interesting questions and observations from what a jolly good job I did, and that I had given them a start initially, but just loved my efforts. Like, how did I hide my facial features? Thinking, well, that was clear. I just had mud all over it. But anyway, did the mud irritate my skin? Where did I get my outfit? And was I still available to babysit the following Saturday night? You've just got to love people who see the fun. And they praised me for my effort that I'd gone to. That day, that was just one of many days. And while we're talking about pranks, do you remember hearing about this particular prank? It was astronauts broadcast jingle bells from space. Many of us have done a prank that almost went too far. And 9 days before Christmas in 1965, 2 astronauts aboard the Gemini 6 told Mission Control that they saw an unidentified flying object about to enter Earth's atmosphere, travelling in the polar orbit from north to south. Just as things got tense, they interrupted the broadcast with jingle bells as Wally Scherer played a small harmonica accompanied by Tom Stafford shaking a handful of small sleigh bells. I do have a vague recollection of this, and I just think it's awesome. Hashtag 2022 Christmas is upon us. Christmas means many different things to many of us. Christmas became something of a really magical thing when I had children at home, when my adult daughters were kids anyway, and I had never known such enthusiasm for Christmas, how excited they were, the counting down of the days, the wondering what they were getting. They were always asking for hints that sort of went, a little bit like this. Can you give me a hint, Mummy? Well, it's bigger than a snail and smaller than the universe, and probably the colour green. I love those seconds of considering what I had just said, quickly doing the maths, adding the 2, and, Mum, that's not a hint. Can we put up the tree? It's only October. Can we? Oh, yes, why not? I remember we only did that, 1 year, but it was just, their excitement and as I say, their enthusiasm, it's kind of hard to ignore. So we'd all scramble, we'd go and get the Christmas supplies out of storage and start proceedings, which had to have Christmas music playing. So they'd all come out of hiding and the kids would organise a tree. It was only us, so we were just really just pleasing ourselves. And the happiness it brought them, and me too, was just simply too delightful for words. Having 3 daughters, at times they would clash. And at Christmas time, I had the direct line to Santa Claus. Yes, I did. And who I would not hesitate to call and report their behaviour. Now, because it was just me raising them, it was awesome to have someone to turn to for support. Is that you, Santa? Yes, it's Laura, Ashley and Carla's mum here. Oh, I'm good, thanks, Santa. Yes, I knew Carla didn't want to eat her dinner this evening. Oh, you saw that? No, I knew she didn't feel hungry, so that's okay, Santa. So the look of horror on their faces that Santa even saw them eating their dinner, that was setting the stage. No, I'm ringing about the fighting and in the background, no, Mummy. I'd put my hand over the phone. Well, are you going to behave? Yes. No, it's okay, Santa. I was just calling to say hello. I've got to go. Oh, what's that, Santa? Oh, yes, I will call if I need to check in with how good the kids are being, using their listening skills. Yes, Santa. Desperate times, I tell you. So, moving forward, all I needed to say was, do I need to call Santa? No! Okie dokie then. But who made Christmas first? The first recorded Christmas celebration was in Rome on December 25th, 336 AD. In the 3rd century, the date of the Nativity was the subject of great interest, but it did not become a major Christian festival until the 9th century. What was Christmas originally called? First called the Feast of the Nativity, the custom spread to Egypt by 432 and to England by the end of the 6th century. Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, otherwise known as Saint Nicholas or Kris Kringle, has a long history steeped in Christmas traditions. You can thank Prince Albert for your Christmas tree. When Prince Alfred of Germany got a tree for his new wife, Queen Victoria of England. The tradition really took off across the pond. A drawing of the couple in front of a Christmas tree appeared in Illustrated London News in 1848. To use proper parlance, the idea went viral. Interestingly, Saint Nick was more generous than jolly. You probably already knew that the idea of Santa Claus came from Saint Nicholas. The saint wasn't really a bearded man who wore a red suit. That look came much later. In the 4th century, the Christian bishop gave away his large inheritance to the poor and rescued women from servitude. In Dutch, his name is Sinterklaas, which later morphed into Santa Claus in English. I just love this little piece of information and has added to my understanding of the background of Saint Nick. What a cool and generous dude. And did you know that hanging stockings started by accident? Legend has it we hang stockings by the chimney with care thanks to a poor man who didn't have enough money for his 3 daughters' dowries. Generous old Saint Nick dropped a bag of gold down their chimney one night after the girls had hung their freshly washed stockings there to dry. That's where the gold ended up and the tradition stuck. And did you know, honest to goodness, the deeper I dug, the more I found, that Silent Night is the most recorded song. I know. Thank you very much. No, it's not necessary. It's not really like it's my achievement. Anyway, but we all know the same few handfuls of Christmas songs play at stores and on the radio in a loop all season long. But one of them has been adapted more than others, which is Silent Night. And it earns the title as the most recorded Christmas song in history. It had more than 733 different versions copyrighted since 1978. Oh my goodness. A bit of a twist on mistletoe. I thought this was kind of funny actually, but it's not really a thing here in Australia, but we make out that we get it. On the other hand, mistletoe's name might not give you quite the same sort of warm feelings. Mistle thrush birds eat the plant's berries, digest the seed, and then help the plant germinate with their droppings. The Germanic word for mistletoe literally means dung on a twig. Really makes you want to pucker up, doesn't it? What does pucker up mean? Well, it means to get ready to smooch. Oh, what's that? Look, Bob, this is how you pucker up. You contract your lips, pulling both ends of your mouth towards the centre of your lips. You blow some air through your lips, and once your lips are contracted, blow out some more air, and this will make your lips part slightly and leave them pursed, but not tense and unnatural in appearance. I really could have done not knowing that. Don't say I don't do anything for you, Bob. Anyway, I have 3 facts about Christmas. I'm going to say facts, but anyway, 3 facts about Christmas. 1 in 3 men wait until Christmas Eve to do their shopping. Christmas trees, say a 7-footer, usually grow for close to 15 years before they can be sold, but the average growth time for a tree apparently is around 7 years. Others claim it can take 4 years, so I'm completely confused now. But nonetheless, my understanding is it is a very profitable business and people usually sell out. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, got his start as an advertising gimmick for Montgomery Ward in 1839. And you may be thinking and wondering, how old is Santa? Exactly how old is Santa? Well, according to the blog Email Santa, Santa Claus is 1,751 years old as of 2022. In fact, the origins of Santa Claus can be traced all the way back to a monk called Saint Nicholas. He just keeps on getting mentioned, doesn't he, this dude? Who was born between 260 and 280 AD in a village called Patara, which is part of modern-day Turkey. Now, Christmas, for me, now with adult children, most with their own children, means that quite often Christmas is held at one of their homes, especially if there is a new baby around, so that they can have their naps in their own cots. It's so much easier. And as you know, new mum and dads have to practically carry the kitchen sink with them on any outing. We have a couple of traditions, and that is we love to spoil the little ones and make Christmas as much fun for them and each other. We have, good food, and it's always just a thrill for me to have my children all under one roof for a time. We still put up a tree, maybe not me so much unless I'm hosting, but other than that, I'm fine with no tree. I'll just admire yours. Time just flies on by, and here we are, zooming towards another Christmas day. I wanted to wish you a happy one, and hopefully you are able to have some time with family and or friends, someone special, and just take that time to reflect on happiness, I guess. It represents so many different things, and of course it does, with so many wonderful cultures in our world, and it may only mean the ending of another year, which is basically what it does to me, but I certainly respect anyone's take on it. It's one of the many things I love about our world, our sameness and our differences. If nothing else, it is the winding down of yet another year and heading very quickly towards 2023. Most of us are tired, and so if you have an opportunity to just stop, breathe in deeply and feel gratitude for anything and everything that sends happy signals to every organ in your body.
I can feel happy signals in my body.
Oh, can you, Bob? That's really nice.
You don't mean that.
Oh, you caught me out, Bob. As an aside, in Austria, as if the threat of missing out on presents wasn't bad enough, Austrian kids who end up on Santa's naughty list also have to worry about Krampus. What a name. A horned, hairy beast that snatches misbehaving children in his wicker basket, serving as, you got it, St. Nicholas's creepy enforcer. St. Nicholas would never have been a part of that. That's not right. So many towns in Austria and neighbouring countries, especially the Alpine villages around Salzburg and Tyrol, celebrate Krampusnacht on December the 5th, where dozens of men dressed as half-goat demons parade through the streets, brandishing sticks and terrorising children. Doesn't that sound delightful? God. We'll just stick to our calls to the Santa direct line if you don't mind. That just sounds positively terrifying. But get a load of this. The Yule lads in not Australia, Icelandic kids don't just get Santa Claus, they also get 13 naughty trolls who apparently roam the country in the fortnight before Christmas. Like Snow White's 7 dwarfs, each of the 13 Yule lads has his own personality, including doorway sniffer, spoon licker, sausage swiper, candle stealer, curd gobbler, and the ominously named window peeper. I couldn't find what the names of the other ones were, but I thought that was that was quite good. So each room each takes turn visiting children who leave shoes in their room, but they leave them in the bedroom window, dropping off presents for the good kids and rotting potatoes for the bad ones. That's just terrible. Anyway, I personally liked doorway sniffer myself.
I like sausage swiper.
I thought you'd be more of a curd gobbler.
Yeah.
And this one, I thought this was great. In La Befana, Italy, Italian Christmases are celebrated with a wine-drinking witch. And no, we don't mean that alcoholic cousin from that side of the family. 12 days after Santa's visit, on the eve of January the 5th, families across Italy leave out a glass of vino and a plate of sausages for La Befana, who pops down the chimney on her broomstick. I mean, that's quite a feat in itself, isn't it? Not only getting down the chimney, but also on a broomstick. But according to folklore, the old lady knocked back an invitation from the 3 wise men to witness the birth of Christ and was so sad about missing it, she spends every Christmas time gliding around the country searching for baby Jesus, though I'm not sure why she thinks she'll find him initially. But anyway, and she doles out presents to good kids and coal to the naughty ones. Man, I reckon this. If you ever thought of writing a folklore-ish styled book, you can make up anything and it doesn't even have to be believable on any level. But I do love the imagination and I love anything that brings people together to display their nuttiness. I love those kind of people who make something that could be otherwise ordinary into something fun and inclusive. For us adults, although we like to get each other something that we think we would enjoy, adulting is not even close to children in a Christmas setting, so there is no pressure or expectation for us to go beyond our means or anyone to go out of their means. Most of all, We just are very happy to be together. We've gifted each other bad gifts, as they are termed in our family, and all bets are off as to what they can be. I've spoken about it in another podcast, and as this year progressively disappears, I will have to look at my supply. I collect rubbish and odd things all through the year, and let's face it, it's the odd things that no one wants. So all through the year I collect them, and then I wrap them up and I give them out. Particularly good if there are new additions to the family, like a new boyfriend or something like that, and so we can all sit and wait for the expression on his face or her face as they stare at an old tap. It's the simple and the weird stuff, isn't it? Oh, you've got to love the weird stuff. Well, I do. I think it's hilarious. Look, they're wrapped and labelled, so there's an expectation that it's a gift. It's that part of me that's just this big kid and does bring joy. That's the thing, eventually. So here it comes. Christmas is on its way. The only Christmas that I have ever, I think that I can remember as a child, is when I received a bike. It was a red two-wheeler, and I was absolutely blown away. I was so pleased. It meant that I could go on real adventures and zoom down hills, and having a carrier side saddlebag meant I could put all my important stuff in there, like a sandwich. I just loved riding my bike. You could ride for so far, and the independence it gave me, I just remember it was just so exciting. I remember that feeling so often, and then when I got to double someone, usually it would be my sister, and I'd be taking her, on the back, taking her to dance lessons, wait for her to have the lesson, and then I'd double her back home. The rest is a blur in terms of Christmas mornings. I don't really remember any at all, and I have really tried to remember. Christmas became special when I had my own kids, and even now more amazing having grandkids. And I always liked for them to have an illustrious Christmas. There was never since anything like their excitement and their anticipation that really woke those feelings up inside me. Their belief in all things magical and Santa Claus was so sweet, and it just made me want to provide as best I could. Their feedback tells me that they enjoyed their childhoods and Christmases, which is music to any parent's ears. But now it is time to chuff off. I hope that you've enjoyed the podcast. I'm always happy that you come on by. It kind of makes my day, really. So I hope you have a great Christmas, have a merry one, and wishing you the happiest of holidays if it is a holiday break. So happy holidays from our family to yours. Wishing you the best this season and always. Well, say good day to the family for me and the guinea pig, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.